You are listening to episode number 16 of the VIP Collective. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Thanks for coming. And let's do cheers before we...
Perfect.
And it can be hard to reach cheers things.
That's fine.
We've gone through this before, but
Thanks
for coming out on a Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Do you know the story about my Wednesdays? I say every day is Wednesday.
Why?
Because every day is the middle of the week when you're in this industry. So every day
That's
is
true,
Wednesday.
actually. Well, it's nice to have you guys. And for everyone who is watching, we are with Purple Tree owners, Sasha,
Svetlana.
and Svetlana.
Yeah, one is MIA, camping
Eugene is camping.
on a Wednesday. On a Wednesday, yeah.
Because it's always Wednesday. Because it's always Wednesday.
There's 3 Wednesdays in a row.
Yeah. So for everyone who's listening, why don't you guys give us a little bit of a rundown? Now, let's start with how you guys kind of ended up in Toronto, because you are not originally from Toronto, are you?
No.
So how does it begin?
So we actually, the 3 of us, so again, another partner who's missing today is Eugene. So all 3 of us come from different parts of former USSR. So we're all born in the same country, but came from different parts of the country that doesn't exist anymore. So Eugene was actually born in Georgia.
Georgia.
No, Georgia, southern state. I was born in Riga, Latvia, so completely opposite end, so closer to the European part, or it's actually part of the European Union now.
And I'm from Moscow.
Oh, okay. What did you guys do when you were there before you came here? Like, were you in school? Like,
I finished university in Moscow. I have a degree in sociology and public relations. So I came here when I was 21 because I met a guy. So I moved here and I was in photography since I was 16. So I was deciding if I want to pursue my career in sociology or go into photography full on. And with support of my family, I decided to get into photography.
That's
with
huge.
my full heart. Yeah. In 21. So I'm very grateful for that.
Were you nervous that they weren't going to lean in the supportive way?
100%, especially with my dad. Like, there was no way. I had to get a degree in the biggest university in the country, so it was a big deal. But getting into photography made me so happy. And I'm very grateful that, like, since 16, I kind of knew that this is my passion.
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky. But I started with fashion photography and slightly got into wedding over the years.
In Moscow?
No, here.
Here.
I was doing fashion photography till I was 25. Cool. And only then I started doing some weddings here and there. Do you want to tell your story? Because we didn't meet then.
I moved here when I was 19. Basically, the main reason was school. So I finished high school back in Riga, Latvia, and then I came here and went to U of T. So I'm actually an accountant. So I did my BCom, and then I did my CPA. So, yeah, very different from...
Oh my goodness. The life before...
Actual life.
The life before, yeah.
So I got into photography literally the year when I moved to Canada. So I was 19, missing friends, kind of was a little bit of a culture shock. So I was looking for a hobby and picked up a camera from one of the first friends here in Toronto, actually the guy behind 500px. So for photographers out there that probably know who that is, but and just started bringing my camera everywhere I would go, but I didn't start making money until a few years later. Actually, I started as a club photographer, so events photographer.
A club photographer?
Club photographer.
So like in the club kind of stuff?
Yeah, like
2 a.m.?
late after hours. So sometimes later than sometimes later than that. And this is where I actually met our third partner, Eugene, but we didn't meet Svetlana until a little bit later. Actually, the day we started Purple Tree.
Okay.
We met the day we started the business.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that's a bit of a story. So we knew of Svetlana through Facebook and some common friends and, the photography circles, but we didn't really meet her officially until a small house party at our common friend's place. Yeah. And then Eugene and I were there already, and every time Eugene gets a few drinks in him, he always comes up with this new greatest ideas. Greatest. Love you, Eugene. And so the idea that night was basically to start a wedding studio, because Eugene used to freelance, shoot his own weddings, and then sometimes he would shoot for other big studios in the city.
For
and
like
then,
lots of years.
yeah, he already had like good 5-6 years of experience behind his belt at that time. And then I slowly got into the weddings because all the people who used to go and party and knew me as a photographer basically got into that era where they started getting married. And then they would all like reach out and ask me, and I'll be like, no, okay. I really like you, so
The first one,
I'm gonna
yes,
so
I feel like that's how it starts, is that you like start the craft and then all your friends start getting married, especially if you're in your 20s. And then they're like, you have a camera and why don't you do it? And then, so were you guys into the wedding thing after you started doing a couple? Like, what was it that you liked about shooting weddings?
I got into photography. I started doing fashion, and I was doing primarily female fashion, and this was my passion, to see the beauty in women. So I absolutely loved it. But then having two people in front of the camera and then being intimate in front of the camera, it takes a lot of psychology, not just like having and seeing the beauty and directing it, but it's more of a real and actual life and sensual. So I was all into this like cute moments, and that drove me for sure.
I think that's one thing I always pick up on when we shoot with you as well, is I can see that you are always trying to pull those kind of moments with the couple, like, but not in a forceful way, but just kind of like you guys do your thing over there and you're just looking like you're kind of.
I love it.
Like
I feel this is something that I'd love to have photos like that for myself, and I feel these are so romantic and genuine and intimate, like nothing else matters, and it's about two of you at the end of the day. So I really feel that these photos are super important, and they're not forced, and it takes a bit of time, and I love when it's silent and there are a lot of people around. That's my thing.
Yeah, like the private moments.
Moments, so no planners, no guests, no one, just photographers, videographer, and couple. That's how I roll. That's what I love. Like I feel those special moments happen like during those like quiet times.
So sometimes you have a couple, they come in, they're like, oh, we're not sure if we need the get and ready photos, we're not sure if we care for all those details, and you might not care now, but if you're going to end up like printing an album or showing those photos in like 15, 20, 30 years, it's all going to add up to a story and tell a story.
That's what I always think when people, they inquire because they don't know. They've never planned a wedding. And so they'll inquire thinking, I don't think I care about this, or I don't know if I need this. But I think it's our job to explain to them that down the road they might regret not doing it. And if you don't do it, you get one chance, right?
That's why we love meeting with people, and we tell them, this is what we do, but tell us what's your inspiration. How do you guys meet? What's important to you? Because every couple has their own unique story, and we try to tailor every experience towards this specific couple with everything that we can do, like to make their dream day come true. Because some people are like, oh, we don't have the invitations, like we printed or we sent something online. Like, okay, but what do you have? I have this pendant from my grandma. Can I bring it? Yes, please bring everything. That's what we love. And so you guys have a team that you work with. It's not just the two of you or three of you, I guess. So when you guys are meeting with clients, are you dividing them up on who you think would be the best fit for them as like a photographer on your team?
So there are a few of us who are doing all the initial consultations with the couples who come in. So it's never the photographer himself or herself who meets for the first time with the couple. So then based on how the consultation goes, based on the venue, based on the vibes, the energy and everything else, we always try to find the best match in terms of the personality. Because when it comes to the actual work and our styles, every single person at Purple Tree shoots exactly the same.
That's the one thing I noticed too, like on Instagram when I'm scrolling through, a lot of times people scroll fast and you may not even see the name, but as soon as you see a photo, I usually put a guess in and it's usually yours. So I can brand recognize now at this point, you guys. So I can see that you guys your whole team shoots
exactly the same. Our post-production is very important. It's as consistent as you can probably get, because like we put so much time and work into that. I feel like we're a bit of a crazy maniacs when it goes to post-production,
right?
Because we don't outsource anything, and we have like a special room in our office where only editors sit, and we all go to make sure it looks exactly like Purple Tree style.
Good.
We used to play this game where there was some people, especially friends of ours, like, there's no way you guys are all shooting the same. There's no way. And then we'd play the game where we'd open the Instagram account, and we would ask them to guess who shot a specific photo. And then 99% of the time they were wrong. Like they're thinking it was Svetlana, but it was actually Karolina, or thinking it was me and it was actually Carly or Nadia. And and it's just it was fun. It was fun to, it was fun to prove them. It was fun to prove them wrong. So no, this is probably the thing that we're the most proud of. Is the team and consistency that everybody delivers, both on the technical side, but also the way everybody interacts with the couples and
for a good experience overall.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, we always have a pleasant experience when we work with you guys. What do you say to if someone contacts you and they're like, we want to be a photographer with you guys? What are you looking for? Someone with experience or someone who's just super ambitious and wants to learn?
Definitely personality is the key. Like technical part, you can train and teach. We do have photographers who never went to school for it. I'm self-taught myself, so it's all about the personality, and it's all about the passion for it. Cause
ability to learn too.
Yeah, and
just work together.
Just work together with the team, because we are a big team. So there are a few people who used to freelance, and they're just so used to working by themselves, that sometimes it's a little bit harder for them to adjust. But definitely personality.
Personality too, because it's not even just you guys; it's you guys and like us and the planner and like everybody's working together. So you want to make sure that they're going to represent
the style for sure, the brand.
And then you wanna make sure that people know how to deal with stress and can think on the spot really, really fast.
That's all. I feel like that's what a lot of our job is just working through fast, but working through like lighting issues or just constantly
planning
working
issues,
around
time
things.
issues, all issues.
Yeah. Don't you think shooting live events makes you a stronger shooter in general? Just because you have to be so fast with things, that when you go to different events or corporate, you have time 100%. With corporate.
And you don't have a screen where you can tether the photos and see correct, change everything.
Yeah, it's real.
You don't have all the time in the world. No, 100%. So I think for most people that will probably be the main challenge when they shoot in this industry for both photos and video. I'm sure. Just dealing with everything super fast and making the right decision in a split second.
Fire after fire.
Exactly. So you have to have enough experience to know how to deal with the situation. Like, what's the fastest way to resolve this right now?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why we don't shoot too many elopement weddings, because we actually love the stress of a wedding day and the fast pace.
Do you remember the first wedding you shot?
I do.
Which one?
It was before Purple Tree. But I don't remember.
It
was a destination wedding. I get a chance to go to Dominican Republic for free.
It's too fancy for the first time.
With my friends.
No one ever gets that. No one ever gets that.
It's the best wedding ever.
It's a false advertisement. I think he's trying to recruit people right now.
It was not with Purple Tree. It was not with Purple Tree. Dominican Republic.
Sounds
not bad.
Tough. Yeah.
Right? My first wedding, it wasn't a full day, I remember, but it wasn't as easy breezy in Dominican. It was getting ready in a dark condo, but it wasn't a full day, so it was getting ready for both of them, bride and groom, ceremony, and some portraits. So it was like a very short and sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice, but I didn't know them. It was a pressure right there. But it went well. They were very happy. So
are you managing the business and you're managing the photographers?
Pretty much.
Like feedback on work?
On actual work. Yes, exactly.
Coming from you.
So, and I'm like, you see this angle? You see if you turn this like that, you see the difference, the shade, and this is me. Yeah. So I'm very particular and like, and here comes the magic.
But if you don't do that, people will just walk up and take a photo. Right. And so until you tell them to start thinking about it, then they start thinking about it. At least if you ones who want to be trained properly.
So it's important. It's important to have both.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a perfectionist when it comes to those like small little details.
Yeah. And so
go for it. No. That's why we love doing lots of style shoots. I think it's a great opportunity to be in the field and try, because you have more time to play with a couple or with a bride or with details, with everything. So it's also like a training when you don't have pressure, but you can be more creative. And like everyone needs to be more creative. Like weddings are perfect, but when you have more freedom and you can, no, Tony, one more time. I need to see more of your face. Like you cannot be as demanding with a bride. You have to be very careful and not to interrupt too much. But when you have a model, like you you can try like so many different things. So
Yeah,
I
'cause you're
really
paying
like
her.
that.
So she needs to listen to you.
But I love that.
Yeah. So for the 2 years from like 2011 to 2013, were you guys just like grinding, hustling?
2 years only. Like,
Well, I mean, because you said the
I'm-
business started and then.
Oh, yeah,
So was it
like-
pretty intensive? Like,
Can I tell
were
a
you guys on the
secret?
hustle? Give me hustle stories. I love them.
I didn't quit my full-time job until 2 years ago.
Oh wow.
And I still feel like we're
Do you
hustling.
want to tell the whole story?
What's the whole story?
2011, and then what happened after?
2000.
So house party,
So
Halloween party, 2011.
So Eugene comes up with this crazy idea.
Can I just ask what you guys were wearing at a Halloween party when you came up with the idea?
What? I don't think I had a costume. Like I think
I don't do Halloween.
But you were there.
I was
See?
there. Yeah.
How
but I
come-
don't-
As an
I don't-
accountant.
I don't-
As in, like, honestly, I think
Boring.
it's a math that he always wears. But
Boring.
we're wearing
Yeah.
anything.
I don't wear
Well,
costumes and I don't wear shorts.
Okay.
That's too personal. I don't think anyone should know.
I'm not wearing shorts right now, for the record.
Pants off podcast.
Imagine.
Because Sean is in costume, no costume.
So we all agreed this night that yes, for real, we should join forces and start a business together. Because they approached me and I was doing it was freelancing, doing like fashion photography on the side. So I didn't have a real job at the moment, only what I felt like, happily.
Yeah.
And then we're like, yes, perfect, let's do that. So next couple of meetings, we're meeting, trying to come up with a name. We came up with a name. And then it was December and January, and I left for a couple of months, I remember.
So she kind of left it to me and Eugene to figure out.
Yeah, I went to Asia to chill.
And then
To chill.
That was my last time when I was chilling, actually.
Yeah.
So
I'm very happy I went. my last real vacation, I had a feeling.
both Eugene and I had our daytime jobs. So me in accounting. Back then, Eugene was working in the digital marketing company, which was amazing because he was in charge of our SEO, and the first couple dozens of gigs were either personal connections or Google. So it was all Google. That's how it started. And then Eugene and I moved in shortly after, by I think May next year.
Mm-hmm.
We found a nice little loft in the Junction Triangle, so Lansdowne and Davenport. So we had a little office downstairs on the main floor, and then 2 bedrooms upstairs. It was interesting. So we used to meet clients downstairs, and sometimes clients had no idea what was going on upstairs.
Because one of the bedroom was overlooking the first
Yeah.
floor, so if someone was there, we're just like stay quiet and still. So
Don't say anything. So so we were there for a good 2 years, and then finally got our first real office down on Queen East by Moss Park. So we're super proud of it. It was still interesting.
Cute,
it was
small,
cute, very small.
But we're so proud.
It was so small. That's when Nadia started working with us around the same time. So we had our first official employee. It was just a tiny space. Then eventually we grew up out of it pretty fast. So Eugene and I were still working somewhere else, which was good. So we could bring some more people to work there during the day. Then they would leave. We would come in at 5:30, 6 p.m. and then work there till midnight.
Wow.
So we had like different shifts.
Yeah.
Shift operation.
And it was 24/7, as I remember.
20, didn't stop.
24/7, no vacations, no friends,
Yeah.
just working.
Yeah.
So
How many weddings were you like when you moved out of the basement and then went to the office space?
it was in basement.
Or
Cute
sorry,
loft.
loft.
It was a cute loft.
Sorry,
No.
loft.
Our first. How many weddings did we have in 2012? So it was our
20.
first season.
Yeah.
20 weddings.
And then we were
between 3 of us.
and then we were doubling that number for a few years in a row. So it went from 20 to 40, from 40 to 80, from 80 to 160. And then
And we had like in 160 we sit for like.
and then at 160 we realized that this is a good number. We don't want to grow as fast anymore. So then we kind of slowed down a little bit. But
Was that 160 with the 3 of you?
no. So every year we would add.
I was like, I was getting tired listening. But I see what you mean. Okay.
No, so we typically ever since year 2 we've been adding 1 or 2 photographers per season. So that's always was our kind of growth strategy. So we didn't want to add too many. So every single year we are fully booked, so it never happens where, you know, oh, we got more inquiries, so let's hire more people. You know, so we always say, like, this is our capacity, this is how many we can do, this is how many people we can add to the team, without affecting the quality and the brand.
That's good. So you don't overextend yourself too, because you also...
I'm so safe.
Yeah.
That's my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
If something happens,
Yeah.
I always need to know that there like a photographer on the call just in case of an emergency. And no, I don't sleep well, and I don't like not sleeping well. Like I need to sleep well and have like good quality.
So it's
That's
it's almost like backup plans that you guys are just planned
backup
for.
of a backup of a backup.
And that's why we don't do video. So I know there are a lot of companies that kind of offer both services, and a lot of couples ask, well, why don't you do it, right? This is completely different. It's just because, you know, even when it comes to photography, just because I have a camera and I'm good at wedding photography doesn't mean that I can shoot your newborn session. You know, because it's when it comes to videography, that's completely different craft too.
Because I cannot do that. If something happens to like one of my videographers and I need to go, I won't know what to do.
Or how am I gonna train you on something that
how can I resolve an issue over the phone or even in person? Like I won't be able to help you. No.
Yeah. Yeah, you need like its own studio in order to do that. Like you'd have to merge with a whole other beast of video team.
100%. Yeah. So we decided to concentrate on photography only.
Right.
Pretty early, like in the days.
It is funny how people think they're interchangeable though. It's really not.
We still get so many questions.
Tripod and
just like
record a ceremony for it?
press a button. That's it. So easy.
I had somebody say to me, whatever, it says grapher at the end of your name. Videographer, photographer. And they're like, you're a grapher.
Well, so if you're not gonna get any sound from your ceremony, that's okay, right?
Yeah. Are you okay with that? We can do that.
If you're into silent dramas, then we've got your back.
You put
Otherwise,
some music.
Just the silhouette shots because we don't have any video lights either,
yeah,
unfortunately.
exactly. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of gear that goes into video life. But.
And the post-production is just so different. Yeah.
Well, how long is it for you guys to turn around photos usually, or albums, or how does it work?
Depends on the time of the year.
What's that?
Depends on the time of the year.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
right. It's still like a full day wedding, which is around 10 or 11 hours with 2 photographers. Takes us about 3 to 4 days to edit. Yeah, with
That's not bad.
albums. It's not bad.
Or is that average?
It is average,
Yeah.
and we deliver around 1,100 photos. At least from this amount.
Because culling takes the most time.
No, calling takes close to a day. If it's a busy wedding, it can take anywhere between half a day to full day.
Because we all overshoot, and this is another thing that we're all doing. Because there's just a slightly angle changes everything.
It looks completely
You need back to the angle, but this is important. Like you don't want to miss anything, and that's probably like part of our philosophy. Because like I know that other people just like, oh, it's clean, it's the moment, just one shot, it's enough, it's the beauty of the moment. No, this and this angle, and try this and see what moves here. Because it's not for us. It's not just the raw emotion. It's raw and beautiful emotion. What can you do to make it like both, best of both?
And then everything else in between too.
Yeah.
So we're not the photographers. We're like, okay, I'm happy. Let's kind of.
Nice, we
yeah.
got the shot.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go, guys.
Let's go. We're done. Let's go to the venue.
No, I always hear one more.
Yeah.
I think between all of us, we're always going, just one more.
Just one more,
Just
please.
one more.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to print it on a T-shirt. And
It's
just
like, yeah.
listen.
One more. It's like if you're at a good concert, right? You don't want it to stop. So that's how it is at the wedding too. You
One
just
more time.
one more track, one more song, one more shot.
Exactly. So are you guys still focused on like SEO stuff? Is Google AdWords still... I see a lot of your like sponsored posts on Instagram. Are you finding that helps?
Yes. For everybody
love
watching,
Instagram.
yes.
We put a lot of effort in Instagram because it's at the end of the day, it's your portfolio that it's the first thing that people see right away. It's Instagram these days.
It's more important than website is still really important, but this is the second most important thing after your website, right?
We love it.
Anything else?
Besides Instagram,
That you
just
guys
to
are-
market
yeah.
ourselves, it's basically everything. So there is no one pill that you take and then just fixes everything, right? So the more touch
Bad.
points. Well, I mean, at the same time, it would have been way too easy. You don't want to.
No hustle.
No
involved
hustle.
If it's all in one place.
Yeah.
LinkedIn?
Nope. not for weddings.
photography.
But the more touch points you can create with your potential couple, the better. So again, like if they only saw you on Instagram, that's probably not enough. If they Googled something and your name came up, but they don't see you anywhere else, so so however they do their research. So if it starts from Google, obviously it helps to be on page one, on top of page one, right? But more or less likely they're not gonna make the decision just based on that. But then maybe they go to the wedding show, or they buy news show of a wedding magazine, and then they see your name again, and then again.
Or
So
neighbor of a neighbor used you, or like sister of a sister.
So it's all these things, right? And so once they have like 4 or 5 touch points with you, then in their mind, this is they trust you already.
Yeah, it eliminates everything, like all the problems, and people start trusting you.
Do you guys have meetings with everybody? So if they reach out, are you saying come in?
100% yes. 100% yes. We do have some couples who live outside of the city, so we try to do FaceTime or Skype meetings with them. But then whenever they're here in Toronto, like we would ask them to come in.
For an in-person meeting, 100%.
Yeah.
Like it helps so much when and like look at their eyes, and like what they care about. Like
how do you spend weekends together? Do you have a little furry friend, or are you guys into cooking together? So
or like go to winery, or go to the beach, because you cannot go to the beach on your wedding day most usually. Yeah, but if people are into that, that's what we love. And we love when there is a meaning to the engagement shoot in general. So it's not like a random park and you're kissing in front of a random tree. It's like, why? What's the point? Right. Like, if you live in a neighborhood that you really like let's go, like, walk around and see those photos, and then in 30 years, like, you'll see like how exactly it looked like when you fell in love and when your story started. So we love that.
So that's kind of your hot tip on engagement photos, is more do it somewhere that might be personal to you, so that when 100%. You look at them down the road, you're able 100%. To.
And it's definitely more a lifestyle, more candid. On the wedding day, we like to use a mix of different styles. So with the wedding photos, it's very photojournalistic, very candid, very lifestyle.
Makes sense. I like that. Yeah. So what do you think is a question that if I was a bride, I should be asking a photographer? What do you think is important for a bride to be asking someone that they're considering hiring for photography?
Well, number one is still look for a full day sample. Any photographers you ever want to book, look at every single photograph that you're going to get. So it's not just a selection of 20 good photos that anyone can put together, but you want to see how the day goes. Because like you can feel, like, was it staged? Was it real? Was it just like slightly staged? Was it like completely candid? And see if that's your style, because there's so many different styles, there's so many different brides, so many different photographers. You need to find your match, and then spend a lot of time with your photographer getting to know each other. Because if like photographer, like you're like, if it's a bride and groom, they're going to spend a lot of time together, but the photographer is the third person, like the closest, and the one that you're talking to much. Like, you better enjoy the company, like you better have fun, because when you're having fun, you're not overthinking stuff. You're just being there, you're being present, and we're all in about those real moments and emotions.
Makes sense. Any hot tips from you?
Definitely ask for full day samples. Definitely ask for the venues where you're getting married in, or at least something similar. But yeah, the main reason why I want to ask about the full day samples, you want to also see consistency, besides everything that Svetlana said, but you also want to see the consistency. How does photographer operate in the low light condition, like at the different types of venues. How are the mornings, how are the detail shots, if detail shots are important to you. So you want to make sure that they can ace everything, not just one piece.
Yeah, I just remembered another one. I love when brides ask me how to put tables in the reception venue. And they're like, oh, the window's going to be right behind me. Is it good? And I'm like, oh my God, thank you for asking. Love that. And we get a lot more brides, especially this year, I noticed. Like, tell me what's bad. What type of lighting should I get from my venue? And I'm like, thank you. Thank you. And like, should I do my first dance right away or later in the night? And it's very personal, but I can tell you from photographer perspective, if you have a venue with tons of natural light, and let's say you're getting married in August when days are still long, but not as long as in June, if you do your first dance at like around 8 p.m., you can still get this beautiful sunlight. And if that's what you were dreaming about, then go for it. So, and I feel like we eliminate so many problems this way by just like communicating and sharing your story and telling more.
So you guys have a team of how many people?
It is 14 employees and 6 full-time contractors. Not full, exclusive contractors.
Okay. So how does it work? They're all in office, like 14 in office?
So 16 people. Yeah, we have 16 people in the office at any given time. Working away. It's busy every day. So 16 people every single day, 2 floors. So before our previous office was all open concept, so everybody was in the same room all together. So at some point it got a little too distracting and not efficient. So the new space have all the different hubs. So we have the editor's room, or actually 2 rooms. We have our meeting area. We have more of a creative room where we can kind of like brainstorm and do some training and meetings. A few other just little areas and hubs, like more of the hotel stations where people can just come in with their laptop or hang out or work.
Well, that's why I'm excited to see your new office, because you guys always put so much effort and skill of design into all of your spaces. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are involved with Mint Room Studios.
Yes.
Yeah. In what capacity?
So we have partners who are into photography as well. So outside of the wedding zone, which was a really good kind of synergy and
Combination of skills too.
Combination of skills, like bringing awareness in different parts of photography industry. Yes, we started that back in 2017, so it's still fairly new, about 2 years now.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah. This was the first business that we started because we wanted to solve an existing problem. Problem being,
having more beautiful spaces to shoot
with
perfect lighting.
At that time, the problem was that there were no places to shoot, and at all, especially in winter months, anytime between like October to April. So that's how kind of the idea came up. So we teamed up with our partners. And
you laid out a design, because it's really beautifully done. Like, you've got so many different varieties of spaces, and you've given some color, and you've given some of the whites, and just to keep it natural, and it's really it's stunning.
Most of it is still like pretty much wedding inspired, so that's why you see a lot of white and airy.
But the white works for the corporate and for anything else as well.
White works for everything.
Yeah, so it's really, really beautiful.
And as a videographer and as a photographer, you know that when it's all white, it doesn't cast any shadows. So like, it's beautiful. Even if you're not a professional photographer and you just want to take a photo of your kid, you're just mom and you just got your camera, you can always come and take those photos, and they're going to turn out beautifully, because like, it's a very neutral canvas, and you can add more anything you want to it and make it your own. So that was original inspiration behind it.
So you're like semi-interior design nurse.
Honestly, I feel like I always say, like, I'd love to get into interior design one day maybe, but it's just so much. It's like you need to learn and study for like good 5 years. There's like so much into this profession in general.
A lot of ideas from intro we also get from our clients and actual photographers, videographers who use the space. We're always asked them what do they want to see there, or if we see that there's certain elements or certain walls or parts of it that they don't really use, then we're like, okay, well, let's come up with something new. Like, this is not being utilized, so we can get creative again.
You guys just added a floor.
We added a floor, and we're adding another location.
Oh, wow.
We just got keys
Yesterday.
Yeah.
2? Did we get the announcement?
Huh? Yeah, this will be the first time we're actually talking about it out in like even Mintrum Instagram.
No one knows.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah. Hopefully this is gonna go out.
Yeah, we just came up with a name actually 2 days ago, so we have an official name. Oh my! So it's gonna be called Prato Loft. Prato Loft.
Okay.
And do you want to talk about location?
So it's on Sterling Avenue, right next to MoCA, the Museum of Contemporary Art. So very nice area for all the creatives. Very inspiring. Very different vibe. So more of a New York kind of loft.
Concrete, raw grays, and like it's loft, so it has like tall ceilings.
Lots of natural light as always.
Yeah. So we're working with a designer on the space, because it's like you need some help. But we're very excited. So that's
Cool.
our
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So what's the official open, or you don't know yet?
We don't know. We've done quite a few construction projects now, so we're very careful with any or at least like seeing them out. And
Yeah, not your first rodeo at this point?
No, not at all. So hopefully, well, definitely before
November for sure.
definitely before the holidays and
Yeah.
before it gets cold again.
Maybe we should have a podcast session there.
We should. It has
that.
beautiful natural light. Beautiful.
We'll bring the mics.
Okay.
They travel.
Yeah, let's do
They
that.
travel well.
Actually, this will work really well with the
Will
design.
it?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. I'm
That
into
ties
it.
really good with inspiration.
I'm into it. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
So circling back just about the business in general, what was kind of when you guys came all together that faithful October 31st night and decided you were going to start the business? What was the strategy moving forward to not just have it be you guys taking photos, but to actually grow a team and kind of, evolve in the industry as you have?
I think so. All of us had like pretty good careers going on for ourselves. So this was not really our way out there. But this was definitely a passion. So when we started as a side hustle for sure, but then since day one we had this dream to make it big, and then we implemented the long-term strategy. So we didn't want to just work a few weekends here and there in summer, make some money, and then go on vacation or buy a fancy car, and then after 2-3 years just call it a day and then concentrate on the actual career. So for us it was all about growing the team. It was all about creating something that's gonna, last for hopefully ever. So one day we're gonna retire, we're gonna stop shooting, but we want to make sure that the Purple Tree brand remains and it's gonna be recognized for the quality and good work and great artists. So so we didn't want any names to be associated with the business. We wanted to be all long term. So we didn't quit our real job. Like this is not a real. Actually, I think this was always the real job. We didn't quit our real jobs until later because everything that we were making through Purple Tree, we're reinvesting and putting back like literally every single penny. Like at some point we had 6 or 7 employees already, and they're all making salaries and making money, and we were still not. So that was the strategy. Because of that too, so we started with contractors, but eventually we started converting contractors into the full-time employees. So at this point, like 80% of people who work with us, they're full-time employees. We want to make sure that they feel like they're part of it, that there is a growth plan for them. There is this job security, and then one of the reasons why we started Mintrum and a few other businesses in this field is so that our photographers know that there is life after weddings. There is something else that they can do. When they hit certain age and say, "Well, I still love it, but I just physically can't do it anymore." But they don't have to worry about looking for a new job or looking for a new industry. Or learning something from scratch. They can still stay within the organization, but maybe working on something slightly different and have more of an office job. Be less on. Yeah, so that was always the dream. So we always cared more about people around us, including our clients.
And here we are. So it's working. Things are going well, obviously.
Yeah. I got my first paycheck last week.
Yeah. It is funny though, because it ends up being that you as an owner when you want to grow your team, that's kind of what you have to do, right? You take the hit, and then your people are the ones that you want to make sure stay afloat and and that's kind of the big thing. And also not taking money out and buying super fancy things like yachts.
I wish. I like that you have an example ready.
It's kind of the key business thing, right? It's keeping the money in the business and reinvesting.
For sure. That's an advice for basically, it doesn't matter what industry you're in and what you're passionate about. If you want to start a business, you just have to be extremely patient and just do not get distracted by the fact that you got a nice check or two, and then, you think that...
And then taxes hit.
Yeah, and then you forget about that. And then you also don't know what else. So you just basically initially stop the growth as soon as you start taking all the money out. So
Exactly.
reinvest for good 5-6 years.
Take care of your people and reinvest.
Yeah. That's
Advice for entrepreneurs.
Leaders eat last. I see this book. I cannot not mention it. Leaders do eat last. That's kind of was our motto from day one.
Mm-hmm. Well, you just got paid this week, so I guess so.
Make it easy. Here we go.
This is your first champagne in 10 years?
Thank God for the wedding industry parties. They feed us.
Yeah, we get our meals strictly on weddings. That's where we take some money on. So last couple questions before I let you guys leave and venture into the world. Where do we see you in 5 to 10 years? Do we continue growing, or do we travel? Where are you going to be?
Traveling is definitely an essential part of our life, of my life, our life. Everyone should be everyone's life, as I think. So
everybody has to deal with Svetlana traveling, so essentially it's a part of everybody's life.
That's how it started. But you have to be creative. You have to be open-minded and well relaxed if you're like doing something new. So definitely mentoring, definitely growing all the businesses right now. Mintrum Studios is something that takes a lot of our attention. That's what we want to grow with this opening new location. So in 5 years, definitely more locations. In terms of Purple Tree, as a part of our strategy, we don't want to grow it more than it is right now. We want to keep it as a boutique style photography studio because it's impossible to take care of so many people and get the quality so consistent when you have more than what we have right now. So, and quality is our number one priority. And there is no way we're sacrificing this. So definitely not growing, but still mentoring and keeping the same quality out there.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
Where are you, Sash, in 5 years?
Where am I personally? I think you nailed it. So with Purple Tree, I think we kind of got where we always wanted to be. So we don't see ourselves expanding, going to other geographical markets or growing even a bigger team. We're extremely happy where we are.
It's a very happy place for us right now.
Yeah, and yeah, just no change. Just maybe like, and every craft, every artist knows that they can improve even more in terms of the quality and work that we're doing right now. So look out for bigger and better things, but not a bigger team. So we're capping ourselves. And just concentrating on the organizational growth as a whole. So looking into other opportunities, other business ideas. So because I still enjoy the people part of it. So I enjoy spending time with our folks, doing stuff that we're doing today, like just hanging out with people in the industry and just sharing our experiences and learning from each other. So, not necessarily going to write a book in 5 years, but definitely want to kind of stay involved and help other people grow within the industry. Not necessarily, people in our organization, but everybody in the industry as a whole.
Well, you guys are definitely leaders, and it's been a pleasure to have you here. One last thing before you leave, I would like you to ask our audience a question.
Question for the audience. And the question is the following. So as everybody knows, in this industry, there are two types of businesses. So there are freelancers and then there are studios or businesses. So the question, and then we know that certain couples prefer one over and the other for specific reasons. So we want to know the reasons why you would pick a freelancer over the business and vice versa, a business over the freelancer. So we kind of want to hear your pros and cons and things that, change your decision.
Yeah, you consider before making a decision.
Yeah.
I like that.
Very nice.
Question for the industry?
Yeah.
Question for the industry. Just wanted to hear somebody talking about the differences between freelancers and full-time businesses in the wedding industry. So it can be photographers, videographers, florists, wedding planners. Anyone. So what are some of the challenges with both, and also what are some of the advantages of doing it all by yourself or having the team?
Great questions.
Okay.
I like. Well, guys, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
We're going to do another one. I hope you're...
Yes,
hope you're in.
Apparently it was bad with doing another one. We'll have to do another one. Take two.
No, you guys were wonderful, and let's cheers.
Thanks for
coming.
having
us. Thank you.
We'll see you soon.